everyone, or good afternoon, I guess, depending on where you're at. So what we're going to do today is we'll do some quick introductions with the judges, just so you get a feel for who you're talking to today. I will read through the instructions for the 10-minute presentation, and then I'll turn it over to you, and I'll be timing you. So whenever you get started, I will begin the timer. I'll kind of raise my hand. Bill did that in our last section. I thought that was good. So I'll give you a little wave when you're about probably about a minute and a half away to let you know that you're approaching the time limit. And then once we're done with that session, we'll kind of take a deep breath, and then I will read the instructions for the 90-minute presentation, and we'll go forward with the 90-minute presentation. So we've got plenty of time. So I'm going to start, like I said, with introductions. So my name is Megan Weiss, and I am the Senior Ethics Director at Raytheon Technologies, responsible for our intelligence and space business. So I work out of our El Segundo, California facility. I've been at Raytheon pretty much my whole career. Originally started in contracts administration and then moved over to ethics about 10 years ago. So I'm really happy to be here today, and I wish you all good luck. Bill, would you like to introduce yourself?
Good morning. I'm Bill Murin. I'm a retired healthcare executive, and I currently serve on several boards, and I also do community service work. And I am very always excited to hear your presentations and look forward to it. So good luck today.
Great, thank you, Bill. All right, so now I'm going to read the instructions. You have been called back by the company you gave your full presentation to for a second visit. They have asked you to speak only about the ethical aspects of the problem and to explain why your solution successfully handles any ethical issues. You will have 10 minutes. There will be no Q&A. You may not use slides or video. You probably don't want to have more than 2 or 3 members of your team do this. Okay, so with that, I'm going to go on mute and get my timer ready here, and you can begin whenever you're ready.
All right. So good morning, Feronia Incorporated Associates. Firstly, I'd like to thank you for having us back again after yesterday's presentation. Today, I'm here to give a short presentation this time, strictly focusing on the ethical issues raised by Feronia's controversy that surfaced in 2019. I, Andrea Rosas, will hit 2 critical points for your company to consider when propelling the Feronia business forward. I will firstly touch upon the ethical risks presented by the Human Rights Watch report and discuss its remediation through adopting the principles of corporate social responsibility and the ethics of care. The second point I will brush on is the actions for Feronia to take on related to seeking the greater good for the greatest number of people. Ultimately, these recommendations will enable you to secure a future where you are a respected leader in the industry that helps to solve one of the world's largest, greatest inequities, food insecurity. Beginning with the first point, Feronia Incorporated should consider prioritizing ethics of care and corporate social responsibility principles in your endeavors moving forward. As mentioned in our previous presentation, your mission statement is expressed as to secure livelihoods, increase food security, and enable broader economic activity through sustainable rehabilitation and diversification of the plantations. This assertion emphasizes the importance of benevolence as a virtue, as your company aims to create resilient communities in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, also known as the DRC, through economic empowerment, food security, and prosperity in livelihoods. Yet, as revealed in the 95-page report conducted by the Human Rights Watch, you, Feronia Inc., and its subsidiary Plantations Ehulares du Congo, the acronym being PHC, have made questionable approaches and practices that do not align with the mission statement stated above. Evidence has illustrated that the operations in the plantations of Yaligimba, Boteka, and Lukutu Feronia has endangered workers with the exposure to dangerous pesticides, dumping untreated industrial waste into local waterways, and engaging in employee misconduct that results in extreme poverty wages. What this reveals are issues related to corporate social responsibility. The processes undertaken on these plantations in the DRC have not been taken with the intent of having a positive impact on the environment, the stakeholders, and your shareholders. The implications of this malpractice have resulted in environmental concerns as the dumped toxic waste pollutes the local water supply, resulting in negatively affecting the local community's health. This has a long-term environmental impact, which puts a negative spotlight on your business practices and limits the goodwill created by your goals to increase food security. Clearly, there is a better way, and by the end of my presentation, I hope to make it clear what that path going forward looks like. Another implication is the risk posed to Feronia plantation employees when working with harmful pesticides. Due to inadequate disclosures, lack of training, and lack of protective equipment and gear, many of these workers have experienced dire health complications such as skin rashes and irritations, chronic fatigue, diminished and blurred vision. The chemical compounds that are found within these pesticides and herbicides pose a danger to human health and come costly to you and your stakeholders in the future. The third implication is the tainted reputation for your stakeholders. As a result of the report, the European banks that were financing Feronia's operations were perceived in an unfavorable light as their investments are seen to support this unethical practice. In adopting our solution of climate resilient enriched grains of rice and the agricultural system of rice intensification, it will generate a beneficial impact on all parties involved, the environment, the stakeholders, and the shareholders. These proposed methodologies enable rice crops to be grown more sustainably, more cost effectively, and produces higher yields with less water, fertilizer, seeds, and labor. This strategy entails an emphasis on the ethics of care as it prioritizes the protection of the employees and the environment through the technique of limiting finite water sources and reducing the use of chemical herbicides and pesticides. This results in soil health resilience, absence of pollution in local waterways, all of which improve the health of the local DRC communities. Continuing on to my second and last point, we strongly encourage Feronia Incorporated to consider and accept our strategy proposal as it can satisfy the principle of doing the greater good for the greatest number of people. Your previous practices has caused great harm to many and reputational loss to your company. These farming practices have polluted waterways, endangered the communities of the DRC through exposure of toxic chemicals, and unfairly compensated plantation workers, which has resulted in the local communities of the DRC suffering, thus not achieving the greater good of the greatest number of people and creating a great environmental and economic burden of remediation that could take years to resolve. The liquid waste that is dumped onto the Congo rivers due to Feronia's operations have a high concentration of contaminants ranging from residual pesticides and organic materials, of which result in high biochemical oxygen demand. These factors include to contribute to what is known as contaminant loading, which is the mass of a pollutant being discharged into a body of water during a period of time. The contamination in wastewater due to your processing can result in numerous impacts on human health and environmental biodiversity. Of these include a high biochemical oxygen demand can lead aquatic organisms like fish to suffocate and die and dismantle their ecosystems. Another factor is the excessive amount of nitrogen and phosphorus in the water causes and creates algae to grow faster than ecosystems can handle. These larger growths of algae, known as algal blooms, can severely reduce and eliminate oxygen in the water, leading to illnesses in fish and death. Some blooms are also harmful to humans as they produce elevated toxins and bacterial growth that can make people sick if they either come in contact with the polluted water, consume tainted fish or shellfish, or drink this contaminated water. In carrying out our proposed approach of climate resilient enriched grains of rice and the system of rice intensification, it cannot only satisfy the local community and the environment, but it can provide benefits for institutions like yourself, Feronia Inc. As mentioned previously, the system of rice intensification is favorable towards plantation employees and the environment, as it cultivates the growth of rice sustainably through the lessening of chemical fertilizers and managing wasteful water use, ultimately reducing the harmful effects on workers and the community's local water supply. Because the system of rice intensification would require no additional investment of inputs and machinery, these specific adjustments are affordable to small-scale farmers and plantations like yourself. Through this method, you'll be able to successfully produce higher yields of rice with less finite resources compared to previous operations, and in turn, boost the income for the company, the employees, and the national economy of the DRC, strengthen social capital, provide long-lasting protection to the environment, and conclusively becoming more aligned with your mission statement. Our strategy ensures that Feronia is not just increasing food security and enabling a broader economic activity, but ensuring its long-term sustainable growth as a leader in this industry, focused on not just meeting its mission or its financial goals, but by doing what is right and just for the greatest number of people, the company, the employees, and the local communities within the DRC. In relating it back to your mission statement of diversifying plantations within the DRC, you, Feronia Inc., has made it clear to only emphasize the operations of palm oil production. We believe that this strays you away from your initial mission statement, and us as 4A Ambrosia Consulting, we want to bring you back to your corporate identity and move you forward as a trustee and a leader in sustainable agriculture through a proposed strategy of climate-resistant enriched rice and rice intensification systems. In conclusion, what 4A Ambrosia
Your
Consulting...
time, just so you know.
Thank you.
Great job. Sorry, I had to cut you off there, but you did a great job. Okay, so that wraps the presentation portion. Really just want to commend you all for really well done on your presentation. I didn't get to see you yesterday, but from what I saw today, it seems like you've been, very well prepared, put together a really nice, cohesive presentation that was definitely able to follow. So we thought Bill and I will still take a few minutes here to give you some feedback. So Bill, do you have anything that you'd like to say to the group?
Well, I'm just impressed by your preparation and your presentation. I know how much effort it takes to put in these types of projects, and you certainly were prepared. You certainly were able to convey the information in a very short time period, given the complexity of the topic. So congratulations, and I wish you luck on Monday and further luck in the competition.
Great. And yeah, one thing I would add is I always assume with these shorter presentations on Friday that people are going to talk fast because they know they have a very finite amount of time. Again, I thought you guys stayed calm, were clear. I was able to follow the logic and the information that you were providing. So really nothing but positive feedback for both of you.